This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Euro Incision podcast. 6 in 6 for the Reds, a fantastic European week once again for Arne Slot's men, but far from convincing. Plus, we're going to cover the key talking points from all the action in the Champions League. We still love the new format, by the way, don't we, Guy Drinkel?
It's easy. Got 2 friendlies left now as well. It's great.
Fun stuff, right? I guess we've got to start with the main one. I'm sure you're sick to death of covering this one because you were on the Raw podcast, but I'm going to go there with you. Girona 0, Liverpool 1. I was fully expecting a goalkeeper howler. It didn't quite happen, but Liverpool won 1-0. What did you make of this one? Because my overriding thoughts when I'm walking away from this is if we didn't get a penalty, I couldn't see us scoring from open play. Just going to be real.
Yeah, it wasn't really one of them where we were creating chances at all. I mean, the midfield didn't really work, did it, in terms of, well, defending or attacking? I think Dom individually played pretty well, but as a unit, I don't think it played well. Every time we went forward, it's like Salah was getting marked by 3 people.
Yeah.
Diaz didn't really turn up or didn't really get involved, but we didn't get him involved. Darwin is Darwin. It just...
Yeah.
We've kind of just he's mainly the main talking point of the fan base, isn't he, in recent weeks? Yeah. So we've probably done that to death, but we will have to talk about him. But the chances falling to him, it's not who you want them to fall to. I think we defended okay as the defence. I don't think the midfield helped too well. But you mentioned it, the main man there, Alisson. It would have been kind of poetic if he came back and matched up, as you said, but he came back and he was his usual perfect level. Yeah. And having the best goalkeeper in the world is always a nice sentence to say after any game, but especially one where the rest of the team doesn't perform to a level and you just go, oh yeah, Alisson's pretty good at football, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, that double saver is just like, wow, I'm so glad you're back. And, and that's no disrespect to Kelleher, who I just thought was absolutely fantastic for a majority of the time when he stepped in, bar obviously the little situations in the Newcastle game. He spoke about the attack and creative, the lack of creativity. And obviously Darwin Núñez ties into that as well. I mean, aside from the chances that he missed as well, I think, for me, one of the problems that I had watching that game was... it felt very much like that the movement wasn't quite great in the box from all our footmen. I felt like you said, Salah had like maybe 3 men on him. I felt like Diaz wasn't cutting in as much as maybe he should have. I don't know what was going on there. I felt like Darwin Núñez, who has a lot of energy about him, and that is one thing that you can't criticise him for, wasn't quite making the intelligent runs in behind the defenders and stuff, like just being a bit chaotic. And I just felt like it was just lacking that. There was something very lackluster about our attack in general. And it's easy to pinpoint Darwin Núñez because he is meant to be the focal point of the attack. But I just was not feeling it. And the game kind of in the first half as well, it felt like we just kind of lacked control and composure and I guess obviously I haven't seen much of Girona, I'm going to be honest with you. But if I'm going off that game, and obviously we cover the highlights in the Champions League Euro Incision podcast, it kind of feels like they put in a good performance and then they have like brain thought moments either by the defense or the goalkeeper that costs them big points.
Well, going off what the commentary said, it sounded like they changed up how they played. I think they were saying they were either like third or fourth in terms of possession in La Liga, and they obviously changed that to sit a back a bit deeper. I'm not sure if they play a back three all the time, but they were playing like full-backs, then wing-backs in front of the full-backs, weren't there? And it obviously worked because it did become a bit of a basketball game, which seemingly suited them. It's just for shame in their point of view is they had Danjuma up front.
Oh gosh, that shot for a throw-in. Yeah.
God, that was bad. I don't even. It wasn't even close to a goal kick. It was
It's
fantastic.
near Everton X though, so we take it, right?
Everton, Spurs, Bournemouth, Villarreal. He's been about.
United throwbacks in that lineup as well.
Oh, it was just like, do you remember when you watched Premier League years and I remember that player. It was like, it's just one of those. Donny van de Beek. That's not a name I've heard in a while. It was just, it was literally a throw. It's like it was if you put that team in Turkey, you'd not blink.
Yes, that is a good shout, actually.
Yeah.
That is a really good shout. I like that. But yeah, and it felt very, I don't know, maybe from a Liverpool perspective, I just found it so strange, that early kickoff as well. Like, I couldn't psychologically get into the grip of things. It just felt very strange to me. That whole game did.
Yeah, I mean, it's Saturday. That's a Saturday kickoff time. That's not that midweek stuff. But to be fair, I appreciated it because we joked on Raw, and if it did pre-season, he's a bit harsh, but it did feel like. It just felt like a league. It felt like a League Cup game. It's like, just get it out the way. And the fact that it kicked off early is like, I'm basically done. I'm done by 9:30 or whenever I finished editing. I was like,
Bless
this
you.
is great. I know. I was just sat there like, all right, there'll be a couple articles to do afterwards, but I'm done for the night. This is grand. So yeah, it was beautiful. More of this. Hopefully, the next two just whack them on at like 4:30. It'll do me.
Nice, yeah.
Exactly. No, but if we had a meaningful game in the competition and it was a 5:45 kickoff, it did feel a bit weird. Like the atmosphere was great, to be fair.
It was
to Girona, obviously probably one of their biggest games in their history. With Liverpool coming to town in the Champions League, but they made it a big atmosphere. I wouldn't say it rattled our players because, well,
No.
we deal with stuff like that. But it certainly upped their performance by, well, looking at their 9th in La Liga, so you'd imagine that's upping their performance.
It's also worth noting as well, we kind of said the game kind of descended into a basketball game and they did have some chances, but at no point did I feel like scared or nervous or, I was very calm. I was just like, oh gosh, like, why are we giving up possession? That it was, even though we were making problems for ourselves, I didn't feel like they were going to like capitalize on it. I don't know, maybe that's just arrogance or maybe it's just hindsight now. But even watching the game, I wasn't stressed.
No, because even like before the game, you sat there and like, if we draw, so be it. We'd still be top. We saw Inter Milan lose later on, but I think Barcelona are second now, and we're through. Like top 8 is all that matters. Obviously, it'd be nice if we won every game and finished top by a mile, but ultimately we've done our job. Like we could lose the next 2 and we'd still comfortably come 8th, I presume, or top 8, I should say. But I doubt we're going to lose now to PSV and Lille. And if we drew against Girona, it would have been a nice moment for Girona, but we probably would have just shrugged at it, to be honest.
Indeed, indeed. And with regards to the penalty, Van der Beek on Diaz, and I know, like, I obviously went back to watch the Champions League highlights on Match of the Day, and they were more focused on, Diaz's boot coming up. But when I watched it initially, for me, yeah, it was maybe a bit of a soft penalty, but he did wrap his other leg around, like, Diaz. It was almost like it was like octopus leg him around, which I just think is absolutely stupid in my opinion. And that's a blatant penalty. You're good. Of course, the player's going to go down.
Yeah, it was a weird one watching it live because the camera angle kind of messed up, and you're like, that's a penalty. No, that's not a penalty. That's a penalty. And then you just see a random boot on the floor, and you're like, okay, that's a penalty.
Yeah, he's lost arms of clothing. Definitely a penalty. Mo Salah, I mean, just 50 goals in the Champions League for him. I think we've just run out of great things to say about Mo Salah at this point.
Yeah, and I think he's now 1 goal behind Billy Liddell, who is obviously none of us have actually seen, but he's some mythical figure in the Liverpool fandom for a reason. And
he's South Farm old.
Well, I've barely seen Robbie Fowler play. 2006 was a great Robbie Fowler year, or 2007, whatever it was. But yeah, the fact that he's equalled the record of Billy Liddell, who it's kind of weird to discuss, but he's obviously one of the biggest figures in Liverpool's history. But none of us could put our finger on why. But pre-Shankly, he was Liverpool. It was Liverpool, wasn't it? And the fact that Mo Salah's matching that, hopefully matches it by the weekend. It just speaks volumes. It's another Mo Salah record broken. And I'm sure I saw another only Mo Salah stat over the weekend about Bukayo Saka. So
yeah, you did. I think it was a Champions League one, goal involvement. I think there was something. Yeah, I think it is something about goal involvement. But yeah, wonderful stuff for Mo Salah. And how many years has Billy Liddell held that record and become a cult hero for the club? And this club has had so many legends, so many great goal scorers, and Mo Salah is like creeping up to him, which just speaks volumes. I think we've kind of touched on Liverpool there. They've done really well. It's nice that they're just kind of winning and we can move past. Guy, where should we go next?
I mean, Man City seems the obvious one because funny. What did you make of them? Because Man City, it looked like they had enough chances to at least take the lead. I think Haaland missed a 1v1. But
now, I'm going to be real with you. I started the first half watching Monaco versus Arsenal. I thought that was going to be a really fun game. I don't know why. I thought, we'll talk about that in a minute. And when and I wasn't, when I went 1-0, I was like, I'm turning it over. I turned it over and I just saw City just descend upon Juventus, nothing really meaningful with regards to the attack, because I felt like, the only focal point is Haaland, and like, if you're not getting him, and, I think that's where Man City are right now, where if he's not making those intelligent runs, or if he's not getting in behind the defender and there's nobody in the box, and sometimes he wasn't, or in the wrong place, I feel like they're very, very snuffed out. And that is absolutely shocking and damning by Man City, by the way, when you think about all the creative players that they actually had on the pitch. And then to concede that goal against run-up play, I mean, you've been making those subs. And, McKennie just scoring that goal. It was just, it was actually quite bizarre to watch. I found it very strange. I just feel like they don't, they don't look like Man City.
It's funny because we experienced this, didn't we, under Klopp twice? And I know, well, theirs is by injury as well because Rodri's out. De Bruyne's missed most of the season.
Guy, though, is it? Like, I know it's a great play, but like, you can't just say I've spent millions and billions of pounds, and if one of my players goes, everything goes to shit.
Yeah, I mean, when we lost Van Dijk in 2020-21, we were still good until we lost Matip, Gomez, etc.
Yeah.
Whereas they lost Rodri and were just instantly crap. Maybe not instantly, because I think they continued for a few weeks, but maybe adding on Kovacic But that's not the same as losing your entire defence or centre-back options.
Yeah.
It's just strange. Like, I was just talking to Carl there on Scouted, and we went through the Champions League a bit. And I made him talk about it because obviously he was on here. But
Yeah.
the one thing I mentioned on this game, and I don't like repeating the point, but I'll ask it as a question to you. Like, you're struggling for goals and you're struggling to defend. If your answer to fix the attack is play Grealish and Doku, who are allergic to end product, like, what's the thought process there?
I have no idea. Again, hindsight is a wonderful thing. I mean, letting Alvarez go.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of talk on AI and just in general, the Twitter discourse that we have on, you know, from some of our contributors and even that we think as well. You let a player like that go, and I understand why Alvarez wanted to go because he was pretty much playing second field to Haaland, and he really struggled to get a sniff in. But, you know, if Haaland picks up an injury or if he goes out of form, like, what happens? And we're seeing it, and I just think not having that kind of, you know, backup where, you know, Man City always had, like, you know, through the years, we take off this player and we bring on this player who equally fits in. And right now, it just feels like a team that's low on confidence. And Doku is like, yeah, you know, he gets on the ball a fair bit. I saw him against Liverpool. I'm sure you did as well. They subbed him on. You know, he was running the channels. But there is no end product.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac, and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
This episode is brought to you by Disney Plus. Game on, because ESPN Plus content is available on Disney Plus. You can watch your favorites from Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus together like never before. With ESPN Plus, unwrap a full day of NBA action on Christmas Day. Tip off the festivities with the Spurs and Knicks, followed by the Mavs and Timberwolves. Then a clash between the Lakers and Warriors, followed by the 76ers and Celtics. And finally, the Nuggets face off against the Suns, all streaming December 25th. Then with Hulu, watch the terrifying sci-fi thriller Alien Romulus, where a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the ultimate horror. And on Disney Plus, follow the adventures of 4 kids across the galaxy as they meet unlikely allies and enemies in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. All of these and more now streaming and available with a bundle subscription. Visit DisneyPlus.com for details. Terms apply.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for adults with migraine with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Ask your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
This year, Santa's bringing the power of Energizer into his workshop.
Whoa, the Energizer Bunny's got so much power.
Wait, he's powered up all the toys. I think that means we're done for the year.
I love this bunny.
He's the hardest working helper the North Pole has ever seen. And he wants all your gifts to have the power of the #1 longest lasting AA battery. So this holiday season, stock up on Santa's and the elves' favorite battery, Energizer Ultimate Lithium.
Gift sport with gifts from Nike. From the retro Vomero 5 sneaker designed with Zoom Air cushioning to fleece engineered with lightweight warmth and next-level comfort, we have the perfect gift for any athlete on your list. Shop now at your nearest Nike store.
If you had a choice between Doku and Joe Gomez to go through one-on-one, I think I'd pick Joe Gomez.
He almost got a goal, you know. I was half hoping that Gazaniga was just going to palm it into his goal, like the Joe Gomez goal.
To be fair, make it at Anfield. Let him score against... is it PSV? I think with PSV we play at Anfield. Just let him score against PSV. That's the one. Let him score at home for his first one. That's the way it should be.
It's concerning, though, for Man City, the fact that, you know, like, yeah, they're putting in the crosses, but they're kind of wayward because there's nobody there. There's nobody in, you know, like, there's nobody in the box. And which is quite shocking, actually, because when Man City were firing on all cylinders, by the way, and one of the things that people lauded Man City about was that Haaland doesn't get involved in the press and he just stays up there and they just, you know, his role and his function is to just be there and be a terror in the box. So if he's not like pressing, I know he's had some defensive header clearances and whatnot, but if he's not doing that, then what is he doing?
That's the thing. Just going off the highlights, because I didn't watch it either, or the full game, there was one instance where Haaland makes a good run to the left and he actually puts a ball in the box and there's not a single Man City player stood anywhere near that going into the penalty area. And you're like...
Have you noticed they all hover at the edge of the box?
Yeah.
They actually all just stand there. It's almost like they can't pass a line. It's like almost like there's a restriction for them. It's weird.
And you think of the peak of Man City, and obviously this team's changed a lot and developed a lot over the years, and so has Pep's tactics. But when we think of the symbolic Pep goal, it's just a cut back to someone in the box. Yes. How many goals did we see? Even now, we see Haaland getting the ball cut back to him. But even if you think of the early teams of Pep, it'd be Leroy Sané cutting back to Raheem Sterling at the back post or Aguero in the middle of the penalty box. Whereas now you think, if it's not Haaland getting it cut back to, who's scoring? Like, De Bruyne's not the same physical force, so he can't really run beyond. You'd think Foden could do it, but he's been that bad. He's now seemingly fourth or fifth choice, which is weird to me. Like, he's been dreadful, but needs must at this time. Like, stylistically, Foden's the only one who's probably going to be able to fix the attack.
It's true.
And you just say to him, don't say this to her, you're shit, you're crap, but you've got to find form and we've got to just make you run beyond Haaland and get some goals in the front three or in the front four or whatever it is, because De Bruyne's going to provide assists and stuff like that, but you're not going to be able to run beyond the forward anymore. Doku and is it Grealish hasn't scored in 45 games or something now?
I believe you. I've not checked the stats, but
I think he's not scored since at least 2023, I'm pretty sure. Which, considering he cost £100 million, it's not good enough. Doku's not one of them players. Savinho's clearly not one of those players either. Foden's the only one who we've seen provide a world-class level, and they have to start playing him. I don't care if he's been awful. You have to find form in these players. Yeah, absolutely. And it's great for us to watch because Man City have caused us so much suffering at times.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, like, watching the highlights, you you come out of it and you think, Keegan Yildiz looks great. Gatti, a player I've never heard of before yesterday.
He did a Joe Matip.
Yeah, comes out, just toddles up front and ends up trying to score a bicycle kick, and you're like, yeah, that's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. But I mean, you look at that Juve side, like, it's not exactly classic. Like, Vlahovic, up and down striker. Yildiz, a young, promising player. Conceição, young, promising. Koopmeiners was at Atalanta, and fine. Locatelli, Thuram's not a midfield to be scared of. Danilo was at Man City and flopped. Gatti never heard of. Kalulu was like a loan signing because they got some injuries later on. Don't know the right back. And the goalkeeper is obviously was doing well in Serie A before, but it's not exactly like the peak of Conte's era or Allegri's era, is it? It's like, that's just that looks like a side in transition.
I'll even go a bit further for you because you're a bit of a youngling, a Capello Juve or a Lippi Juve. You know, like, yeah, I agree. But I did like the Stadium Allianz being quite full. It felt like a very European night at Turin. I quite liked the whole black and white flags. Found, again, Pep Guardiola's comments at the end very, very bizarre. He just randomly said, I love this team, they're the best. I was like, basically, I believe in reverse psychology. He means the total opposite. I hate my players and this team is shit.
Could you imagine if he got a blank checkbook in January, how many people he'd buy? It'd be amazing.
I just find it so, it shows I guess, him having these meltdowns shows that he's very human. But I just love the fact that he feels the need to say that. I don't know. Maybe because I am a nasty Liverpool supporter. But
he's trying to convince himself, I think.
yes. Yeah, we're not buying it. Sorry, not buying it. But I think we moved on from Man City. Oh, by the way, their game against PSG is going to be very tasty now.
The El Casico? No.
Yeah, El Casico.
Yeah, where both of them are now crap.
Yeah, El Gulfico, Gulfico.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. Let's move on. I watched the first half of this one because obviously we just spoke about Man City, so it ties up nicely. We'll just cover all the Premier League sides. Arsenal 3, Monaco 0. The first thing I thought was, where the hell is Taki in the lineup? That's what I thought. I thought Monaco were awful, by the way, from the first half of football that I watched. They were giving the ball away in such stupid areas. They were really sloppy. If it wasn't for that goalkeeper making some great saves, I think he's called Majeski, having some majestic saves, it could have been so much worse in the first half for them.
Yeah, just going off the highlights, because why would you?
And looking for them, Jesus is dreadful because
yes,
let's just put that there.
Yeah, Gabriel Jesus is a weird player. That's the thing. Like, going off the highlights, you see Odegaard go through 1-on-1, kind of fluffs his lines. Jesus, I think he gets a goal cleared off the line, doesn't he? Yeah. It's probably just a step too far for Monaco. I know to be fair, they did beat Barcelona, so maybe it's not a step too far. But
I just felt like they were really horrible. I found out they were pretty weak on the ball, and they were getting just pressed in the midfield, and the defense making stupid mistakes. Even I'm going off the first half, but the way how casual that defender was, and his name escapes me, on Odegaard, and Odegaard just puts it wide, which is shocking for him, by the way. But it could have been so much worse for them. And then obviously in the second half, from my understanding, they applied some kind of pressure. Taki did come on. Yeah, we love a bit of Taki. And I think it was quite, when it went to 2-0, obviously Saka making it 2-2 for him and then Havertz scoring. It just looked pretty much comfortable for Arsenal. That's all I'll say on the matter.
Yeah, from just going off the high, it did look like the second half, Monaco tried a bit more with the changes like you mentioned. But as soon as Saka got the second, which was at the 78th minute. So obviously Monaco made a decent showing of it in the second half. But when it goes 2-0, it's probably game over at that stage. And Arsenal obviously have had a weird journey in the Champions League, but they're sat third now. Obviously lost one. Who did they lose to? Inter, of course it was Inter, and drawing to Atalanta, was it? I think that was one of the early games, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
they haven't had the hardest running, to be fair. Like, PSG on paper's hard, but it's not in reality. Shakhtar, Sporting, when they just lost their manager, perfect time to play them. So I don't think Arsenal have had the hardest running, to be fair. So for them to be sat third, it's job done, really. They need one more win to confirm basically top 8. So fair enough to them getting the job done. But Monaco, where are they now? They were doing well. They're 16th now. They're already probably in the playoffs at the very least, but they'll probably want another point or another win. And that's probably the best they could have hoped for, is getting through to the next round, whether it's the playoffs or straight through.
Yeah, I think you've nailed that perfectly. Let's move on now to the game that was on Amazon Prime. Leipzig 2, Aston Villa 3. McGinn getting the early goal. A gift of an equaliser from a Openda, but that sub Duran, John Duran, wow. He scored a goal. Scored 2, actually, I think. What did you make of I'm going to butcher his name, but I'm going to try. Baumgartner's volley? Wow.
It was a beautiful finish, that.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones where you're playing FIFA and you're just like, yes, it's perfect. I could imagine doing that in real life because I'm
It
useless.
seemed like a really good game, this one. I can't lie. It seemed very end-to-end, and at that point, it was all equal. And then, obviously, that massive deflection. I feel like that's just Leipzig's look at this moment, that massive deflection for the Barkley goal.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because Leipzig have...
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write 1 million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
This is an ad from BetterHelp. This holiday season, do something for a special person in your life. You. Give yourself the gift of better mental health. BetterHelp Online Therapy connects you with a qualified therapist via phone, video, or live chat. It's convenient and affordable and can be done from the comfort of your own home. Having someone to talk to is truly a gift, especially during the holidays. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
Time to move? Skip the hassles of selling during the holiday season and sell your home directly to Opendoor. Request an all-cash offer in minutes, close, and get paid in days. You can even pick your close date so you can move after New Year's. Start your move at Opendoor.com or download the Opendoor app. Opendoor is represented by Opendoor Brokerage Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Opendoor Brokerage LLC in its other markets. Terms and conditions apply.
We know you have a lot on your holiday to-do list. And at the UPS Store, we're here to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, your gifts will arrive intact or you'll be reimbursed. Got holiday cards to print? We're also the premier printing store. We've got everything you need for every way you holiday. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
Dark horse is probably too strong a word, but when you see them in the Champions League, you're thinking they'll be annoying to play against. Like we've played the game. I think we've had them a couple times in the knockouts. I've seen them give Real Madrid tough games, but this season and in this new format, it just seems to have swallowed them up. Maybe the fact is that they've obviously had a good few tough games because they've played us. They've obviously played Aston Villa there, played Inter, but losing 3-1 to Celtic. I know Celtic Park's a difficult place to go to, but yeah, come on now.
Yeah, that shouldn't be happening. That happen in the old format. It wouldn't. I don't think it would. I think you're absolutely spot on. Yeah, and it's good to see Aston Villa, I suppose, getting a fair few goals because I feel like they've been a bit lackluster in the Premier League. Just about beat Southampton 1-0. I thought it was far from convincing. I think Watkins isn't really doing it for them, but it's a good job they got Duran off the bench that can do things. Let's move on now. You spoke about Celtic. Let's just get all the teams out the way. Zagreb 0, Celtic 0. Chance missed for Celtic because they could have won that one. I thought that they had chances, but they were half-arsed chances. They have got young boys home next, so I don't think they're stressing too much.
No, it's probably a good point to go to Croatia. Zagreb seemingly have improved quite a bit. They've steadied the ship in terms of Champions League, but to go there, get a 0-0, it's not too. Where are Celtic? Celtic, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 21st. They're above Man City. Take that.
There you go.
They're sandwiched between Real Madrid and Man City. I think Celtic would have taken that before the season started. But sat there on 9 points. If they beat Young Boys, they're probably guaranteed playoffs. So I think they'll be more than happy with a point, to be honest. But I think we've said it every Thursday. They do actually have to win. They do have to do the beating of Young Boys. Because sometimes we've seen it where Celtic, we've got an easy game. They'll lose like 2-0 and you're like, okay. So they do still have to do the business. But considering who the manager is and the record of Brendan Rodgers in the Champions League, this is probably his best European campaign off the top of my head.
I think you might be right.
So, happy days? Question mark.
Yeah, let's wait and see. But let's see if the Young Boys can,
ruin it.
Yeah, ruin it, or keep the momentum going that they have been doing. Right, where should we go next?
Real Madrid.
Yeah, let's go there. Atlanta 2, Real Madrid 3. What did you make of this one? Mbappe and Cole were back. I thought that was a really good finish by him. So quick. Wow.
Oh, it was lovely.
Yeah.
It was just lovely. And that's kind of what you want to see from Mbappe, because he did, I'm not saying he is a meme, but that game where he was offside like 700 times, I think that was El Clasico? And then against us, he was offside quite a bit as well. Yeah. So to see him perfectly time a run and then just finish it effortlessly, it's like, I could do with you being bad again. And then he gets injured anyway, which is always fun. But then they bring on Rodrigo and you're just like, yeah, they have a lot of good players.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. It was an important win for Real Madrid because they have been pretty bad in the Champions League. But the fact that they're dealing with quite a few injuries, like they're playing Tchouaméni at centre-back.
He did a penalty, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. And like Camavinga's obviously got injured. You're playing, Ceballos is playing for Real Madrid. Like, he wasn't good in the Premier League like 5 years ago. So that kind of shows where they are. But Mbappe gets injured, you bring on Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. then just runs the game with Jude Bellingham. I mean, Jude Bellingham's goal was sensational as well.
Yes.
But it was a really fun game. Atalanta obviously doing pretty well. Where are they? 13th. So again, they probably need a draw or a win just to confirm it. But they'll probably want to, if they win the next two, they might have a good chance of getting the automatic through. But Atalanta look like one of those annoying sides. You just
don't we know it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, let's talk about a bit of a surprise here. Leverkusen beating Inter Milan 1-0. Inter can see their first goal, but Leverkusen had to leave it very late to get that goal. Patience does pay off. I find this whole group setup really, really interesting because obviously Inter Milan was second before we went into this game week. And then obviously they've also, slightly lower than what they had to. But I can't believe it took 6 games for them to lose a game and to concede a goal. Like, fair play to Leverkusen. Didn't seem like much of a fun game, I can't lie. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah, the highlight was literally just the goal.
Yes, there was nothing to see, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, all right, crack on. And then it was Xabi Alonso celebrating, like, okay, fair enough, there's nothing to see here. But no, a really good result, because, like, I don't watch basically any of the Bundesliga, especially when it's Bayern Munich are clearly just going to win the Bundesliga. But we were talking beforehand about podcasts and stuff we listen to. But when you listen to like the Bundesliga update on certain shows, it's like Bayer Leverkusen don't really look the same. They're a bit defensively weak.
Yeah,
and
they copy and paste on the
Yeah, it's just like, they look very sloppy. But then all of a sudden they're picking up a huge result against Inter Milan. You're like, all right, maybe not back to their sparkling best. But I mean, you look at the side there and it's weird. Like, you just look at the net, like Nathan Teller's playing up front.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Experience holiday cheer at Tanger Outlets with savings up to 70% off your favorite brands. From fragrances to accessories and the latest styles, discover the best gifts for everyone on your list. Save big at Nike Factory Store, Michael Kors, Under Armour, Coach, Polo Ralph Lauren, Kate Spade New York, and so many more. Unwrap the best at Tanger Outlets. Hundreds of brands, endless gifting options. Plan your trip at Tanger.com.